What's up? I'm B and welcome to my channel. Today we're just gonna have a casual little conversation about something that has been on my mind lately. This was kind of inspired by two recent events. One was a post on Instagram about the Rachel Hollis situation that was posted and pretty swiftly removed. So we'll get into that. But the second situation is what Gabby Hannah has been doing lately. Gabby is not in the thumbnail, she's not in the title, and that's for a reason, even though we're going to be talking about her a little bit. The reason I didn't want to kind of like publicize that she inspired this conversation is for one of two reasons, both of which are valid. I just don't know which it is yet. So the first one would be her recent behavior appears to me as being related to potentially a severe mental health moment. I don't like speculating on people's mental health, what they're going through, anything like that. If they have any sort of mental health issues or something that they're being treated for, I just think it's kind of unnecessary and can, kind of not promote, but can propagate, I guess, stigmas around certain health disorders or mental health issues. So I don't want to do that, but it seems somewhat erratic and a little bit manic. And I'm not saying that she's in a state of mania, but I know personally, I don't have any diagnosable mental health issues, but I've reached that point in stress where, like you're just overwhelmed and overloaded, and then one more thing gets added on top and you're like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing, and you kind of get into that state. So I've experienced that before. I have to be under a severe amount of pressure and stress for me to get like that, and I don't know if that's what's going on with Gabby, but I've seen that in myself, and kind of a similar behavior is happening with her. So if she is experiencing a mental health moment, I don't want to add to that, and that's why we're not going to speculate on what she's going through. So it's either that or it's that she's behaving in a certain way to get a lot of attention because she has an album coming out. And I saw a tweet of hers where she was like, people are asking like, oh, what are you gonna do? Like promote your album with this? And she's like, yeah, I'm an artist. What else am I supposed to do? So I don't know, but if she is behaving in the way that she's been behaving in order to get more attention for her album or for anything that she's releasing, I think there's probably a better way to get attention on yourself than erratically and maliciously calling people out. But I've never dropped an album, so I don't know. What do I know about that? Maybe she found that this is best for sales. I would just encourage her, if that's what this is, to maybe think about the long-term ramifications of behaving in such a manner and what that not only means for your life and your reputation, but for the people that you are using in this game, if that's what's going on. So anyway, if you haven't been keeping up on the tea, Gabby Hannah is in full-fledged call-out / revenge mode is what I would call it. She started with Rachel Oates, moved on to Angelica Oles, then Dominic DeAngelis, and then Oscar Wilde, and she's just going off on people as she sees fit. The main people though the main person, I guess, that has been on the receiving end of this tirade is Rachel Oates. And I want to make it abundantly clear that if Gabby felt that Rachel was unfair in her critique or that she went too far in creating a parody because adultolescence meant a lot to her, and the fact that she had her dog help write this book felt like mocking, if she was offended by it, from what I've heard from everybody else, I haven't seen the video, from what I've heard it was like a sweet video where Rachel wrote basic poems and then had her dog pick fill in the blank words that would go in there. So it seems like it was just kind of a cute video. But if Gabby felt that that was too far, Gabby has absolutely every right to feel how she feels and to speak about it. However, there are some massive problems with the way that she approached this. Gabby did not have any sense of, from what I could tell, planning any positive outcome that she could hope would come from this. She wasn't approaching this from a place of wanting to problem solve. She was more so approaching it from a, you pissed me off and now I'm gonna tell you about yourself kind of way. And it was just too far. It was a series of tweets and Instagram stories and name calling, being nasty. It was uncomfortable to watch. Not only what she said about Rachel, but the videos that she made about Oscar Wilde, where she's like, I just want your attention, I can't have it, and then screamed, why not? As if, like, it looks like a mental breakdown. I'm not saying it's a mental breakdown. She's said that she's fine, so I'll take her word for it. But a lot of people were like, this is really triggering for me to watch. Like, this is scary to watch. I don't like this. This triggered my PTSD. So she's putting out a lot of erratic, vengeful stories and posts that are not being well received. And like I said, if Gabby feels hurt by any of the people that she's calling out, she has the right to do so. But in general, all of the responses that I have seen from people and how I personally feel is that this is not the way to go about it. And this just seems completely out of the blue and inappropriate. Honestly, it's not being well received. Gabby says, I just wasn't in a mentally healthy spot back then. Like, I'm mentally healthy now, and that's why I'm doing this. But to me, the posts do not seem like somebody who is mentally healthy. I understand wanting to tell people what's up, I guess. You know, when you feel that somebody has wronged you and you are finally at a place where you feel like speaking about it, I understand the impulse to not be so kind. However, to me, mental health seems kind of like regulating that and thinking about the big picture. And you may want to do exactly what Gabby did, but you rein yourself in and you say, okay, is this going to be effective in what I want? Is this going to be well received? Am I going to look like the bad guy if I do this? Is it right for me to do this? And you ask yourself those questions, and maybe you adjust your sails and go in a different direction. So I have like 3 things that I think contributed to the negative perception of Gabby Hannah's call out tirade. First and foremost, the name calling. It's not a good look. Gabby continually takes clinical terms and applies them to people without knowing their mental health history. Everything is narcissistic abuse. You're a narcissistic abuser. You're narcissistic. This is abuse. This is gaslighting. Gaslighting maybe you can get away with, but calling somebody a narcissist, saying that they're a narcissistic abuser, and constantly going in on the fact that everybody's abusing me. I'm the internet's punching bag. I'm their scapegoat. It's too much. It's too much. You cannot diagnose people as narcissistic abusers when you are not on their mental health team, when you are not on their medical team. You can't do it. Not everything is narcissistic abuse, Gabby. It's almost as if Gabby learned this term and it applied to somebody that she knew. She was on the receiving end of narcissistic abuse from somebody, and now it's almost like every time she sees a glint of a similar behavior, she automatically jumps to that. And she kind of uses it as like a, look, I'm in therapy. I'm mentally healthy, so I can see these things. And I can recognize narcissistic abuse, and you're doing it to me, 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 and I'm right because I'm in therapy. It's kind of the vibe that I get. Not saying it's what she is doing, not saying that that's her thought process, but that's how it appears to me. Additionally, just calling people names. I don't like doing that. I really don't like when that happens because, I don't know, to me when you call somebody a name, it's almost like you're defining who they are as a person, which I am massively uncomfortable with. And I think it can get frustrating sometimes because I don't love speaking in absolutes, and so I tend to avoid that in many, many cases. But we are saying like, a bully might not necessarily be a super hurtful term, but it's like, okay, you just didn't like the way that they treated you. Does that make them a bully, or does it mean that they did something you didn't like and it made you feel attacked or like you were bullied, but that wasn't their intention? I don't know, something to think about. Calling people weird ass bitches, talking about people's numbers, talking about how you talk about me and you get millions. I talk about you and I get still millions, but not because of you. Putting yourself in a position where you want to call somebody out for abusing you, for harassing you and causing you a problem, and you want to call them out, but in the process of calling them out, you call them a nasty, a narcissistic abuser, a bully. Like, you call them all these names while calling them out for bullying you. I don't know how you're going to call somebody out for behavior that hurt you while hurting them back. Unless it's revenge. If you want a positive change to come from this, if you want somebody, like because Gabby said she could just apologize. Why would somebody want to apologize to you if you are calling them names and coming at them aggressively? That does not make sense. You cannot bully somebody into seeing things from your side. Again, what is the intent of all of these call outs? Calling Dom out for doing a smash or pass. She made it a very serious thing. And I saw the video clip. All he said about Gabby was like, she's not my type. And like, yeah, it might hurt to hear that and be like, well, dang, like, that kind of sucks. I don't know. Maybe I see that differently. Smash or pass was a huge trend back in the day on YouTube. I know that like me and my friends played like Shag, Marry, Kill when we were like 13, 14, and we did it with guys. Like, I don't think that this is necessarily a male-driven problem. It's possible that it made Gabby feel objectified, and it probably hurt more because Dom was in the kind of vlog squad group, and the people in the vlog squad said some really, really mean and hurtful things to Gabby. So it could be that she's associating this, she's not my type, with all of the other poor treatment she got from the vlog squad while she was in it. And I think if it hurt her feelings, again, that's fair. But for her to say that he dehumanized her, I think there are a lot of things that men do that are dehumanizing and degrading to women, and they do put them in a tiny little box of whether they are attractive enough or not for you to want to put your penis into. Like, I get it. That happens a lot. I am just confused as to why it's Dom that she's calling out for this. I get he made a tweet about her, like, hands down, she's one of the 3 worst people I've ever met in LA. And yeah, maybe you want to clap back to that, but really just going off on him for that, it seems like an overreaction. And that leads into point 2, which is Gabby's call out of her abuse is inconsistent. Gabby is going after Rachel for years of abuse, according to Gabby, when from what I could see, Rachel's first video on Gabby was from like December of 2019. If there's one from before, let me know, but that was like the earliest one I could find. And when Gabby did her video after her first break, when she did the like YouTube shadow banning me, that whole saga, when she came back, she was talking about how people abused her when she first came to LA. Her friend group when she first came to LA were the ones who abused her and made her feel bad about herself and just caused her all of these problems. When you're talking about abuse going back at least 5 years, let's say, I don't think it's fair to blame Rachel for that, to put Rachel on the receiving end of that. Even if you didn't like what she said, even if you felt like it was unnecessarily harsh, there are people who have said and done way worse things to you than Rachel. And they have massive channels. You know, why aren't you going after them? Are you going after Rachel because she has a smaller channel than you? Are you going after her because it really gets to you that she did a critique of your book that got over 1 million views? Why are you going after Dom when there are guys in the vlog squad who have said and done way worse things to you? Why are you going after Angelica Oles? Is it because she recently got into a lot of controversy and you're hoping people will back you up on it? Why are you going after Oscar Wilde? I don't even really know who Oscar Wilde is, so that feels like a punch down to me. Wait, let me see. Let's see what Oscar Wilde's media following is like. Aww. My mom just texted me a picture of Monks and his cousin. They're both 3. They're like 2 days apart, which is crazy. That's so fun. Anyway, Oscar Wilde, 144.8 thousand followers on Twitter. Gabby Hannah, 2.4 million. It's just inconsistent to me. And I don't know if that's a shared sentiment, but for me, that's one reason that I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And finally, the third reason that this all just seems weird to me is the timing of all of it. Like I said, Gabby has said that like she's finally mentally healthy, and that's why she's calling this out. This is not a picture of like mental health to me. Mental health can mean different things to different people. But if there was somebody I knew who was acting like this and exhibiting this behavior, I would check on them. Of course, that is just to me. Mental health could mean different things for different people. Gabby could be totally like mentally healthy and have just decided that her version of being mentally healthy involves being hyper aggressive and posting erratic stories, calling people names, and belittling them. I don't know. And the third reason why this series of callouts just does not work for me is the timing of all of it. Why now? Why are you calling out Rachel Oates now? People have obviously posed this question. What? Do you have an album coming out? Do you have a new song to promote? And Gabby wants to say, well, like, yeah, I'm an artist, so what am I supposed to do? Not promote my work? Well, no. Like, you can promote your work, but it seems like every time you have something coming out that you want to promote, you engage in dramatic behavior. Could be a coincidence. I'm personally somebody who doesn't believe in a lot of coincidences, especially things like this. I mean, I don't know, get into some, like, crazy drama that literally doesn't hurt anybody. If you're trying to create a buzz around your album, I don't know, go to a Burger King, get 16 Whoppers, sit on the hood of your car and eat all of them. Like, I don't know, do something crazy and weird. That's probably not even crazy. What's something crazy that could get you attention that would be like harmless to people? Because this is a lot for people who have a smaller following than Gabby. What's something good? I don't know. Go to Hollywood Boulevard dressed as Superman. Are they doing that right now because of the pandemic? Put on a sturdy mask, dress like Superman, go to Hollywood Boulevard and take pictures with kids for free. Guarantee someone's gonna notice it's Gabby Hannah. Like, I don't know, talk real loud as Superman and people will recognize ya. I don't know, do something like that and then people will be like, what? Why is Gabby Hannah dressed as Superman on Hollywood Boulevard? Can you tell that I live like a wild and crazy life? That those are my attention-getting ideas? I don't know. Leave something better in the comments. Leave something better in the comments that Gabby Hannah could have done to get people talking about her, being like, what is she doing? What is going on? That wouldn't involve hurting other people. That wouldn't involve directing so much hate at a smaller creator that it caused your fans to mass report her Instagram account and get it disabled. Things that aren't going to harm other people. Because again, she might have felt harmed by these people, but a mentally healthy person does not want to harm people back, in my opinion. If you got hurt by somebody, you would say, man, this sucks, and I wish I could hurt him back, but that's not right, because I know how it felt. So how do we fix it? To me, that's what a mentally healthy person does. Just my opinion. Like Stephanie Harlow over here, don't come for me. But there are things that she could have done. So the timing of all of this just seems off because you're not going to get a positive result from negative behavior. Yeah, there are plenty of people on the internet who get praise and get attention for being like catty or petty or throwing shade. But Gabby Hannah is not one of them. People do not like a snarky Gabby Hannah. They just don't. And so I'm curious what she thinks is going to come from this. I'll say it again. You cannot meet a negative situation with a negative attitude and expect a positive resolution. It's just not going to happen. And that's going to lead me into the second event that I want to talk about. As y'all will remember, a few weeks ago, Rachel Hollis stepped in it, picked her foot up, sniffed it, stepped in it again, and then smeared it across her entry mat. A lot of her colleagues were talking about it and saying that they don't support this kind of behavior. A lot of commentary channels were also talking about it. Hello, me included. So people wanted to have a conversation about what she did. And somebody that I follow on Instagram, honestly, this sucks because I credit this person with putting out content that was encouraging to me when I was first starting out my YouTube channel. She has a lot of great marketing and content creation tips. She has a lot of great encouragement and go get them like motivation podcasts out there, and they were really helpful, and I really value her contribution as a professional in that area. So I like her. This person posted something that I hated when I read it, and I posted about it on Instagram, but I didn't say their name. And they've since deleted it and just not even addressed it. And I think that's why I'm going to say who this is, because I don't want to like cause any speculation. It's somebody called Angie Lee. I like her a lot. I don't agree with everything she says, but as a professional, I think she has a lot of value to offer. Let me read it to you. So the picture on Instagram is like a text picture, and it says, "Quick question, ladies. Are we in high school? Dudes don't do this," poop emoji. And the caption says, "Welp, I'll raise my hand and say it. Gulp. Who else is sick of the cattiness in the female personal development space? Dudes don't do this." This is not the point of the video, but why are you like trying to make it like guys are so much better than girls and guys don't like tear people down or comment on bad behavior? You're elevating men in the personal development space, saying these guys, like any guy in this space, is so much better than us because they don't do this. Moving on. This is why I admire and respect Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, and Seth Godin. They don't have time for that low vibration crap. They focus on serving, they focus on helping, they focus on their family. They don't seek drama and they don't engage in it. They don't scroll the interwebs looking for the imperfections of other influencers, authors, entrepreneurs so they can make a video about it. They don't call out people to get likes, comments, attention, because let's be honest, drama gets clicks. Yes, drama does get clicks. People like it. People like drama. It's just part of human nature. However, I'm biased because of the content I make on my channel. Call out videos are important. I think you have to make sure you have the right intention and you do it in a way that is helpful so as not to be toxic, which we will get into in a little bit. But if you see something bad happening, especially in your community, and you don't say anything about it, are you causing damage to your own community? Are you allowing people to get away with bad behavior? Do you not care about people in your community experiencing this? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. If you're in the personal development space and you care about the people who follow you and look to you for advice, and you see somebody else in your very same space doing something that is harmful or damaging, not like something petty like, oh, they were wearing the ugliest outfit, like not something dumb. You see something legitimately harmful that this person has done or is doing. I personally think you have a bit of a responsibility, if you know you share an audience especially, to make a comment on it if your public affiliation is known, especially in that case. If it is known that you are buddy-buddy with this person and they're doing something harmful, if you don't say anything, you're co-signing it. I'm gonna get a little bit fired up. Let me like take it down a few notches. They don't waste this precious God-given life on anything less than their purpose. The irony? It's exactly the opposite of what women are preaching. Tearing others down is not empowerment, laughing, crying face emoji. It's just a really sad, easy way to get views. If you know the person, call, text them personally to help them fix it. If not, move on. If someone is truly your friend who made a mistake, you pick up the phone and talk to them. You don't run to your IG to make a public post. That's not a real friend. Reminder, you never look good making someone else look bad. If it is publicly known that you have an affiliation with this person, you have a responsibility to your audience over that influencer to let them know where you stand. I will die on that hill. I really will. Because it's harder to do that. Because you could be losing opportunities by doing that. Especially with the Rachel Hollis case. If you are closely affiliated with Rachel Hollis, and you are a speaker or an author or somebody that she could potentially elevate by bringing you to one of her conferences or by getting you in contact with one of her, business buddies, if you could potentially benefit from knowing and being in with Rachel Hollis, which maybe isn't the case anymore because she did get dropped by Target, so maybe not this so much, but if you could benefit from a relationship with that person, and when that person messes up, you publicly say, I do not support this behavior, you're looking out for your audience. You're looking out for the people who got you where you are, as opposed to a friendship that you could potentially gain something from. And I know that it might seem cynical or like messed up to look at public friendships that way, but that's the reality for a lot of friendships in the public eye for people in similar spaces. It's about getting clout off each other, and I hate that word, but that's just kind of what it is. And if you want them to improve, you can absolutely still call them and say, hey, if you need anything, let me know. If you want to talk about this, if you want to kind of brainstorm where you went wrong and you want to be better, like, let me know. I'm willing to support you on your journey, but publicly, I have to let my audience know that I don't support this and this isn't okay. Let's read the last line again. Reminder, you never look good making someone else look bad. Legit, did you know there are YouTube channels where all the creator does is make hate videos of MLMs? LMAO. What in the grandma's tits? I'm sure on their last day they'll be super proud of that philanthropic work. Seriously, do you think at a doctor's office under profession on the forms they write hate video creator? LOL, I'm peeing. You never look good trying to make someone else look bad. Who said that? I'm just stunned by this. The blindness of saying you never look good by making someone else look bad, and then immediately after that, making fun of anti-MLM creators. The anti-MLM creators that I watch want to educate people. They have experienced MLMs, they have had negative experiences, they have done the research, and they say, don't let this happen to you. And the ones that I watch, there could be just hateful people making anti-MLM content out there. But the people that I watch are like, this isn't about tearing down the reps in most cases. They're like, this is not about like making fun of you for getting sucked into an MLM or trying to tear you down. This is just about your behavior and what the MLM allows and encourages, and trying to educate people so that they do not see stuff like this and think it's the truth or perceive it to be what they need to do for their own lives. They don't get sucked into joining an MLM. It is about helping people. In the interest of being fully transparent, Angie is one of the founders of Soul CBD, which is the only CBD brand I use and the only company that I have an affiliate link for. So I do want to put it out there, just like I said, in the interest of transparency and honesty. And when I saw this, I was really frustrated, and it made me think about the code. And I'm like, man, can I have a code that promotes a company who one of the founders for thinks like this or talks like this? And the fact that she deleted it was like encouraging to me, and I'm like, okay, she realized something was wrong. I'm still very frustrated that she did not address it, and she thought, like, she wrote this out and she thought it was okay, and then she deleted it because obviously something was wrong, but she doesn't want to say, because if she just deletes it, it goes away, right? So that was frustrating for me. However, I stand by Soul CBD products. As somebody with a chronic illness and who got hit by a car in December, and especially with getting a 30-pound 2-year-old who just wants to be held, that pain relief cream is something else. So they're good products. I'm still kind of wrestling with whether or not to keep my affiliate code. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. I'm probably setting myself up for some criticism, but that's okay, because I do want to hear your thoughts. If you hear this caption and you're like, I will absolutely never buy from a company whose founder said that, let me know. Feel free, because for me, I want to promote it because it's good quality CBD and I have a discount code for you, and if you buy, I do get something like 10%. I don't even know. I don't even think I've gotten a check from them. You have to meet like a minimum payout. I don't know the last time I checked my balance, so it's not because I'm like raking in cash. It's just I want people to know about good products. Moving on though. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. Let's get back to her caption. I'll be really honest, this is a huge reason why I left the coaching world, and it's a reason I'm leaving the digital marketing, how to make 9 figures in 1 year space to launch this new product and step more into wellness. I am no longer following female leaders who participate in this drama. I am disheartened by how many I have seen criticizing another leader's actions, yet they are spewing back the exact energy they are criticizing. This is Angie, this is what you are doing in this post. If you like drama, that's not my page, dude. I'm here to give you poop jokes, wellness hacks, and inspiration. Also, I won't ever make you feel like you have to be in the cool girls club to sit at my table. So I'm sure you can see why I took issue with that post. And that was the post originally that I saw that made me want to talk about call out culture, because you're sitting there calling out people for calling out somebody else and being mean while you're being mean. Like, does that make sense? You're saying, like, if you don't like something, keep scrolling. If you don't know that person, if you know them, pick up the phone and call them. But other than that, it's not your business. One, if it's in your space, it is your business because you have a responsibility to your audience. Two, you're saying, like, don't be mean, don't call people out, keep it moving, while making fun of people who have anti-MLM channels. It really just did not sit right with me, and that is like what prompted me to make this video and think about all the ways that people get called out on the internet and what I believe to be the key components of not only a good but effective call out on the internet. There are 3 of them. New day, same topic. Let's jump right back into it. There, in my opinion, are 3 key components that should go into a productive and or effective call out on social media. So whether you are standing up for yourself, for your beliefs, you are calling someone out who has hurt you personally, or just bad behavior in general. The first one being forethought. And within that, I would also include intention, timing, and presentation. Gabby Hannah's event did not work because she did not have those things. Her intention was not to resolve anything. Her timing seemed completely random, and the presentation was erratic and just did not make sense to anybody. So I think that these are all important things to consider when you are addressing something that you think is a problem on the internet. Component number 2. In the American Sign Language interpreting world, there is something called the Reasonable Interpreter Standard. And I'm sure that other vocations have something very similar to this. I just only have experience with the Reasonable Interpreter Standard, so that is what I am calling it. Essentially, the Reasonable Interpreter Standard is a way to measure a response when questioning ethics or the efficacy of an interpretation. If an interpreter is being called into question for something they did, we would look at it and say, okay, so you made this decision, something bad resulted from it. Would a reasonable interpreter in your exact same situation, under the exact same conditions, make a similar choice? Is this something reasonable to do? Because that's what we need to figure out. Were you acting completely recklessly, or is it likely that somebody else would have made a similar decision? So when we translate that to taking issue with people on the internet, is this something that is reasonable to be mad about or to have a problem with? And in this situation, I'm gonna refer to Demi Lovato here. It's so interesting that we have so many examples that we can go through. Demi Lovato recently called out a froyo shop for having what she called diet options prominently displayed in their store, and having the typical froyo options farther back. And instead of potentially directly contacting the shop and considering that there are reasons to have lactose-free or sugar-free options at a froyo shop, like not only 1, diet preference, but 2, medical necessity, she blasted them on her Instagram stories and did like a hashtag diet culture vultures and tried to make them look bad, like they were promoting disordered eating. And I will say, Demi is someone who has struggled with disordered eating in the past, and so I understand why her first thought was that's what they were doing. However, the way in which she approached it was completely wrong. You are not going to get a company to bend to your whim by blasting them on social media. Because if she had just DM'd them and been like, hey, I'm really concerned about this. I think this is promoting unhealthy eating or an unhealthy perspective on food. You shouldn't make people feel like they have to have a sugar-free option if they want froyo. What's wrong with having some froyo every now and then? And then they could say, oh, like that's not the intention. It's just we want to make sure we can cater to people who have different dietary restrictions. And as somebody with dietary restrictions, I know that I appreciate when certain foods that do cater to those restrictions are prominently displayed, when there's either like a section for them or they have a specific like image or symbol next to it that lets you know this is dairy free, this is gluten free. Because for me, it's easier for me to pick what I'm going to eat, and I don't have to spend a ton of time scouring the menu or asking a bunch of questions. It's just easier for me. So I think if Demi had gone to them one-on-one and just tried to have a conversation, she could recognize that that's not what they were doing. And if she still felt like the way it was displayed or the way it was laid out was wrong or harmful, she could have made a suggestion. And to be so real, I do have a lot of compassion for Demi. I can't imagine the stress and inner turmoil that goes on when you have a history of disordered behavior or thoughts around something that you literally need to survive. I cannot imagine how hard that is to navigate. Again, I feel bad that Demi was in a place where she felt triggered and she felt that they were promoting something unhealthy. However, I think as somebody who is working through disordered eating, just as somebody who's working through anything else, it is somewhat your job to make sure you can identify triggers and have a sort of plan in place to help you work through them. There could have been a better way to resolve it. So this is where I think Demi fails in the reasonable interpreter standard, because I do think it's reasonable for her to have felt a reaction to what she thought was occurring, but the way that she approached it was completely wrong. She could have used this situation to open her mind a little bit more and maybe feel a little bit less intimidated by foods like that. Maybe she could view foods that are sugar-free or gluten-free or dairy-free in a more positive light when she can remember, oh, there are people who have certain dietary restrictions. These aren't aimed at me. I don't need to do these. Like, I don't need to consume foods like this in order to enjoy treats, but man, it's great that they make alternatives for people who need or want them. But instead, she turned it into a feud. Demi, I want to root for you, but you make it so hard. And last but certainly not least, when you are publicly addressing a problem, you need to either be willing to let it go, like say your piece and be okay if people don't see things your way, if people disagree with you or they want to debate with you. You have to be willing to just say what you gotta say, engage in healthy discourse, and let it go and be alright if not everybody's on the same page as you. Or you need to be open to seeing resolution or improvement in the person or situation that you are calling out. Because other than that, what's the point? Like, you are just going to piss yourself off and stay pissed off if you're not open to one of those two options. Righteous indignation feels good in the moment, but that good feeling only lasts so long. And I think this is especially important to remember if you are somebody on social media, because if you watch, say a YouTuber who is really petty, like always taking jabs at people, always making snarky comments, at first when you watch it, you might find that channel entertaining. You might be like, oh my gosh, that's so funny, you just don't care, like you'll poke fun at anybody, this is hilarious. But I think it's only a certain amount of time before people stop finding it so funny and people stop enjoying it as much, and you're perceived more as somebody who is always taking jabs at people, always has something negative to say, never has anything positive to say, is always trying to tear people down. And the public perception can really shift because after a prolonged period of negativity, that high is going to wear off. And so it's not going to be enjoyable. People are not going to find any sort of rest or calm or relief, whether it be comedic relief, whether it be the fact that watching their videos, like watching somebody's videos makes you feel good, whether it's this person has a really comforting energy about them, and so I feel good watching their content. You know, I'm not saying that every piece of content that every creator makes has to be super calm and soothing and, I don't know, serene with candles lit in the background. But even if you're watching a high energy video, it can kind of calm you down and make you feel good because you like that creator or you resonate with them or you're finding joy in whatever it is that they're doing. So we went on that whole entire tangent just to go back to the point that if you are addressing a problem, you have to have a solution that you would like to work towards achieving, or you have to be willing to say your piece and let it go. Not only for the sake of your audience, but for the sake of your own mental health, because holding on to stuff and just being angry all the time doesn't feel good. It's not fun. As always, that is just how I see things. I would love to hear your thoughts on this entire topic down below. And if you have any key components that you think should be added to the list, make sure you drop them in the comments. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. If you are already subscribed, thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.